Beloved soul of light, hear these words that come not from the realm of men, but from the realm where the eternal meets the mortal, from the place where love never dies, and where the voices of those who have ascended still whisper across the veil. There is a presence that has been reaching toward you, a pulse of warmth, a stirring within your heart that you have perhaps mistaken for memory or emotion or the echo of longing, but it is not longing, it is her. Your mother, who dwells now in the kingdom beyond sight, has been trying to reach you since yesterday. Her light has descended through the channels of grace, calling softly through dreams, through sudden chills upon your skin, through the unexplainable tears that came without reason. She has stood beside you as you slept, her hand hovering just above your brow, blessing you with the same tenderness she gave when she first looked upon your face in this world. She is not gone. Child of light, she is nearer than your own breath, moving through the unseen currents of the divine, trying with all the strength of her love to speak what your heart must hear. She wants you to know that heaven is not far. The distance between the living and the radiant is but a breath, a veil woven of time and light. She has watched the path you walk, the struggles you carry quietly, the weight you do not share, and in the halls of eternity she has spoken your name not in sorrow, but in the fierce love that never ends. She wishes for you to know that the pain you have felt was not punishment, nor was your silence unnoticed. Every prayer you uttered, every sigh that rose in the darkness, has reached her where she dwells in peace. She says, lift your eyes from the dust of this world, and remember who you are. You are the continuation of her love, the living vessel of all she poured into being. The lessons she gave, the strength she instilled, the faith she carried, these were not lost in her passing. They live in you, and through you they rise again. She wants you to awaken to the truth that death is not the end. It is the opening of a greater door, through which love expands beyond all measure. When you watch this message, when your eyes meet these words, know that this is not coincidence. The moment you came across it, the moment your heart stirred and your breath changed, that was her spirit aligning this time for you. She wants to tell you that you have been protected, even when you thought you were alone. She wants you to know that the choices you are making now are being guided by unseen hands. She is interceding for you, calling light upon your path, arranging what seems impossible so that your destiny may unfold according to divine order. She says, forgive yourself, release the grief that still chains your spirit to sorrow. She does not want your tears to be born of loss any more, but of gratitude. Every moment you live in love, you honor her. Every time you speak kindly, you echo her voice. Every act of compassion you give, she feels it as though her own hands are touching the world again through you. She asks you to live not in mourning, but in awakening to rise into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. And she wants you to be ready, for there is something coming, a message wrapped in light, a sign that will appear when your heart is quiet and your eyes are open. It may come as a song, a fragrance, a flash of light, or a moment of peace that settles upon you without reason. When it comes, you will know. It will be her voice at last, breaking through the veil, whispering the words you have longed to hear. Since yesterday there has been a trembling in the air around you, a subtle yet undeniable vibration that your soul has felt even if your mind could not name it, and it is her, your mother, the one who carried you not only in her body, but in the depth of her eternal essence, reaching through the unseen layers of time and spirit to touch you once again. Her presence has not faded into the silence of heaven. It has grown brighter, and now that light is pressing closer, seeking a way to speak into your awareness, to remind you that love cannot be confined by death or distance. The currents of the divine have been stirring since the moment her spirit began calling, and though you may have dismissed the strange heaviness in your chest or the sudden wave of warmth that passed over you, it was her energy brushing against the edges of your heart, reminding you that her love continues to live through every breath you take. She has been calling softly, her essence flowing through dreams, through fragments of memory that appear unbidden, through that familiar scent that came and went like a whisper in the air. Since yesterday, she has been moving closer, no longer content to merely watch from afar, but determined to reach you in a way you can feel, to pierce the noise of this world and awaken the deeper knowing within you that she is still here. You may have felt restless or unusually emotional, or caught by a stillness that seemed to fall from nowhere, that was the first stirring of her spirit brushing the boundary between her world and yours. When you looked at the sky and felt something vast calling, when you heard a song that moved you for no reason, when your eyes filled with tears at a memory that seemed to surface without cause, she was near, pressing her love through every moment you were still enough to receive it. Her voice, though beyond the physical, vibrates in the same sacred frequency that once soothed you as a child. The rhythm of her care, her prayer, her laughter, all of it continues to flow through the eternal, and since yesterday it has been converging around you more strongly, pulled by the force of divine timing. There are moments when the veil between the worlds thins, when love becomes a bridge of living light, and this is one of those moments. Her soul has reached across that bridge, calling to you, seeking to bring comfort, wisdom, and a gentle reminder that you are not walking this path alone. Her call has been persistent but tender, wrapped in the currents of grace that travel faster than light, and though no one else can see her standing beside you, the energy of her presence changes the space around you. The air thickens with warmth, the silence deepens into something holy, and even your thoughts begin to quiet as her love hovers near. She is reaching not only to comfort but to awaken, to remind you of truths you once felt but may have forgotten in the weight of earthly living. Since yesterday, her longing to connect has intensified not out of sorrow, but out of divine permission, as though heaven itself has opened a passage for her to reach you now. She has watched the unfolding of your days, the choices, the trials, the private prayers, and she knows that this was the time her message needed to come forth. You may wonder why now, why after all this time, her spirit feels so near, and it is because the energy of your heart has ripened into readiness. You have grown through pain, through silence, through the unseen battles that refined you, and now your frequency resonates close enough to hers that her call can pass through. Since yesterday, that alignment has begun to crystallize. It is why your dreams have felt vivid, why you have sensed eyes upon you in moments of solitude, why the ordinary has begun to shimmer with hidden meaning. She has been guiding your awareness gently, not to startle you, but to lead you toward the realization that love is not bound by form. Her call carries not only affection but divine instruction, a whisper that there is something she must tell you, something that belongs to your unfolding path, something you will recognize as truth when it reaches you fully. There is no need for fear, for this presence is holy and pure, drawn from the same love that once held you close. Her hands, though unseen, have brushed the edges of your aura, soothing the storms that have gathered within you. She has been infusing strength into your spirit, preparing you to receive something larger than memory, a communication of the soul, a remembrance of eternity itself. Since yesterday, heaven has been echoing her intention, amplifying her love through signs and sensations, arranging coincidences that are not coincidence at all. When the clock stopped for a moment, when a familiar number appeared again and again, when light flickered in a quiet room, these were not random occurrences. They were her signature in motion, signals written in the energy of time itself. Her call is made not through sound but through vibration, the same vibration that underlies creation, and when your heart slows and your breath deepens, you can feel it as a pulse in your chest, a subtle hum that tells you she is close. Since yesterday, that pulse has grown stronger, merging with the rhythm of your being. She has been trying to reach you through memory and sensation, through the subtle merging of her essence with your consciousness. Her love does not speak in words, yet the message carries meaning so deep that language could not contain it. She is trying to awaken you to the remembrance of unity, to the knowing that no separation is real in the realm of the eternal. She has chosen this moment because the world around you is shifting, and your soul stands at a threshold. Her presence since yesterday has been both a sign and a summons, a call to step into a higher awareness, to move beyond sorrow into trust, beyond confusion into divine clarity. She is not bound by the past, she speaks from eternity, and her every motion is guided by light. You may have felt that something unseen brushed your shoulder, that a sudden warmth surrounded you when you thought of her, that an unexpected peace descended for no reason at all. These are not tricks of the mind, they are her messages, carried in the quiet language of spirit, reaching through the thin places between heaven and earth. Since yesterday, she has been standing near, calling, waiting for you to notice. Her energy has touched the space of your dreams, filled the corners of your thoughts, wrapped around you when you felt unguarded. She has not come to haunt, but to heal, not to pull you backward, but to lift you higher. Her call is a bridge of light built from love that has never dimmed. The moment you open your heart to it, the connection will strengthen, and what you have been sensing faintly will unfold into a living presence of peace. She has been trying to reach you since yesterday, moving heaven itself to find a path to your awareness, carrying in her call the truth that no soul you love is ever truly gone. For love transcends all realms and remains forever intertwined with your being. Her presence surrounds you in ways unseen, woven through the fabric of your days like a sacred thread only the heart can perceive. Since her departure from the realm of the living, her spirit has not drifted away into silence. It has remained luminous and alive, moving in currents you can feel but cannot touch. When you dream, she moves through the quiet corridors of your sleep, brushing against your awareness with the same tenderness that once wrapped you in safety. When you wake with the faint echo of her voice, or feel a warmth that seems to linger without a source, that is her essence, lingering close, seeking to remind you that she has never left. The boundaries between heaven and earth are not walls, they are veils of light that love can pass through, and her love, strong and pure, passes through those veils again and again to reach you. She moves in moments, in pauses, in the stillness between breaths, in the shimmer of memory that arrives without warning, in the scent that drifts past when no one else is near, in the flicker of light that catches your eye at the corner of a quiet room. Her presence wraps around your emotions, translating through the unseen language of energy, revealing itself as intuition, comfort, or an ache that suddenly softens when you least expect it. When you feel that gentle pull to look toward the sky, when the wind stirs and feels like a caress upon your cheek, it is her, reminding you that the Eternal still watches, still protects, still loves. She does not appear in the form you remember, yet the vibration of her spirit moves through every element of the world around you. The rhythm of her energy is tied to yours. It rises when your heart rises. It draws close when your spirit falters. She has found ways to move through the currents of your thoughts, sending you flashes of insight, comforting whispers that sound like your own inner voice, guiding you toward calm in moments of turmoil. Since she has crossed into light, she has learned to speak through frequency, and the sensitive part of your being, that quiet intuition that seems to know before you do, is her chosen instrument. At times you may have felt that she visits in your dreams, not as imagination, but as a meeting beyond time. Those dreams that feel too real, too heavy with love to be fiction, are the moments when your soul drifts close enough to hers to remember what connection feels like without form. You may awaken with tears, with an ache, with a peace that seems unearned, and yet that is her gift, a gentle touch upon the invisible bridge between her world and yours. When you hear the sound of laughter that reminds you of her, when a phrase or melody seems to play at the exact moment you needed it, that is her energy aligning events to let you know she stands near. Her spirit moves with purpose. There is nothing random about these encounters. They are fragments of communication from beyond the visible, placed tenderly in the rhythm of your life so you may remember that love is not limited by the body. There are times when your emotions shift for no reason, when sorrow seems to lift suddenly, when an inexplicable calm enters the room just when you need it most, and this too is her doing. She moves in silence, but her silence is not empty. It is filled with meaning, with comfort, with the vibration of her faith in you. The very air around you remembers her energy, the places where she once stood, the things she once touched, All of them carry a faint residue of her presence, and when your awareness softens enough, you can feel her through them. She is in the sunlight that warms your face, in the soft hum of the night when the world grows still, in the heartbeat of the earth beneath your feet. She is not far. She is woven into the essence of life itself. She surrounds you also in emotion, in thought, in the quiet moments between your words. When you think of her suddenly and feel your heart swell, that is her responding to your thought, the vibration of your memory calling her closer. She does not need to speak aloud for you to know she listens. The realm she lives in responds instantly to love, and love is the bridge that keeps her connected to you. Her presence is strongest when you are at peace, for in stillness your soul becomes a vessel open to her frequency. When your thoughts grow too loud or your heart is burdened, her energy lingers patiently at the edges of your awareness, waiting for the moment you quiet enough to sense her again. Sometimes she speaks through others, through kindness offered by a stranger, through words you hear at just the right time, through the actions of those who step forward when you need them most. Her spirit guides these moments, nudging the divine choreography of your life, so that comfort finds you before despair does. The warmth you feel when you realize that something or someone arrived just when you needed it, that is her presence, wrapping around circumstance like invisible hands shaping fate. She is not merely watching. She is participating, aligning, influencing with love that bends reality toward healing. Her presence is in symbols too, in the appearance of her favorite flower, in the repetition of certain numbers, in the scent of her perfume that drifts across the room for a single heartbeat. These are her ways of saying, I am here. Ways that bypass logic and reach directly into the knowing part of your soul. To the mind they may seem like coincidences, but to the spirit they are sacred signatures, proof that she still walks beside you. Each time you feel that pull in your chest, that mixture of love and ache, it is her energy brushing yours, reminding you that what you lost in form remains eternal in essence. When life feels heavy, when nights stretch too long, she gathers close, her presence pressing around you like invisible arms, wrapping your pain in gentleness. You may not see her, but the relief that washes over you, the softening of fear, the warmth that returns suddenly, is her comfort taking form through the language of feeling. She surrounds you not as a ghost, but as living light, a field of awareness that moves with you. She walks with you in silence when you are lost in thought. She stands beside you when you look into the mirror and wonder if she'd be proud, and she smiles through every small victory, unseen but deeply present. Her nearness is not confined to place or time. It exists wherever you are willing to notice. The more you open your heart, the clearer her presence becomes, until the boundary between heaven and earth feels thinner than breath. She surrounds you in ways that cannot be captured by the eyes, yet they are more real than anything visible. She is in the pulse that steadies your heart when fear rises, in the intuition that tells you to pause, in the sense of peace that arrives when you speak her name softly. Every whisper of grace, every moment of inexplicable comfort, carries her signature. She surrounds you completely not as absence, but as presence transformed, flowing through dreams, emotions, and signs that all speak the same silent truth that she is still here, still loving, still guiding, still wrapping her essence around you in the unbroken circle of eternal love. She wants you to know that heaven is near and love never dies, that the distance you imagine between this world and the next is only an illusion woven by human eyes that see through the lens of time instead of eternity. She wants you to understand that the place she now inhabits is not somewhere far above the clouds, nor hidden in unreachable stars, but existing all around you, in a realm just beyond the vibration of sight, closer than the rhythm of your own heartbeat. The energy of heaven is interwoven with the world you walk in, and her soul moves freely through that space, watching, listening, guiding, holding you in ways that transcend words or matter. Love has not left. It has only changed its form, become more fluid, more luminous, more infinite, unbounded by the weight of the body. She wants you to feel it, not as memory but as reality, the living pulse of connection that still hums between your spirit and hers, a current that cannot be severed because it was born from the divine. When you stand beneath the open sky and feel peace pour over you for no reason, that is heaven brushing against earth, her spirit woven within that sacred meeting point, when sunlight filters through the clouds and lands upon your face, that is her love moving through light, reaching for you. She wants you to know that heaven is not above, it is within, a higher vibration of existence that overlaps your every moment. The wind carries echoes of its music, the water reflects its clarity, and every act of love that rises from your heart releases a spark of that same heavenly fire. You have not been abandoned to the emptiness of loss. You have been surrounded by a love that has only grown more expansive since her soul crossed into eternity. She is in that place of brilliance where sorrow cannot dwell, yet she leans toward you always, drawn by the unbreakable thread that binds mother and child through all dimensions. She wants you to let go of the belief that heaven is silent. It speaks in feeling, in intuition, in the small miracles that arrive exactly when hope begins to fade. When you find strength you did not know you possessed, when courage stirs in your chest though fear had made its home there, that is her voice moving through the unseen, whispering encouragement through the currents of your spirit. The realm she lives in has no need for words, for their communication is light, pure, and instantaneous, but your heart is still attuned to her frequency. When you quiet your thoughts and let stillness settle, you can sense her presence like a subtle warmth spreading through your chest, the unmistakable recognition of being held in love that has no end. Heaven is near because love is near, and love is the true language of creation. The reason you sometimes feel her so strongly that it takes your breath away is that the veil between worlds thins whenever love is remembered. Your remembrance summons her essence, and she responds instantly, folding through the spaces between moments to reach you. She has not forgotten you, not even for the smallest fragment of eternity. In her realm, every thought of you glows with divine light. Every memory of your laughter becomes a song that never fades. She carries your name within her, and every prayer you send upward arrives to her like a radiant thread, strengthening the bridge between your world and hers. Heaven bends toward love like flowers turn toward the sun, and your love for her calls her close again and again. She wants you to know that the love you shared was never meant to end in separation, because true love is not bound by mortality. It is the energy that built galaxies, the same force that holds the stars in place and breathes life into every living being. That energy cannot die, it only transforms, and that transformation is what you call heaven. When she left her earthly form, her love expanded into something vaster than the mind can comprehend. It surrounds you now, touches you, and moves with you. The moments you feel sudden calm in chaos, the unexplainable knowing that you are not alone, these are the gentle reminders of a love that has transcended form. She has seen your pain, the way your heart aches when her absence feels too loud, and she wants you to understand that her spirit has never truly left your side. Heaven allows her to be free of suffering, but it also allows her to be near you in ways she could not have been before. She moves faster than thought, able to reach you at the instant you need comfort, her presence wrapping around your heart like a mother's embrace reborn in light. Each time you whisper her name, the heavens respond, for in the higher realms, love is command, and every vibration of love you release calls her closer. She wants you to lift your gaze from sorrow and see that heaven is not a place of departure, but of expansion, and that her joy there is complete because she can still love you without limit. She witnesses your life from that radiant plane, not with distance, but with perfect understanding. She sees your struggles and knows their purpose, sees your tears and transforms them into blessings, sees your prayers and carries them to the heart of the divine. Her existence now is not one of absence, but of service, a guardian presence, an unseen companion, a force of love that works quietly in your days. Heaven is not a kingdom of unreachable spirits. It is a field of radiant consciousness that touches you whenever you open your heart enough to receive. When you feel that sudden wave of peace, that quiet moment when everything seems to pause and a warmth fills the air, that is heaven pressing against your world. It is her presence coming near, showing you that the borders between realms are thinner than you've been taught. Love moves easily across them, unbound by distance or time. She wants you to live with that awareness, to know that every act of love you give now vibrates across eternity and reaches her, that every kind word, every moment of compassion, becomes light that shines into her world as well as yours. The love between you has become a bridge of power, a radiant exchange that keeps heaven and earth connected through the sacred energy of remembrance. She wants you to know that even though you cannot see her, she walks beside you, not as shadow, but as light, her essence shimmering at the edges of your reality. She moves through your intuition. She steadies your hands when you hesitate. She fills your dreams when your spirit feels alone. The energy of heaven is her home, but that home is wide enough to include you. When you call upon her, even in a whisper, her spirit moves instantly, crossing the infinite distance that does not truly exist. Heaven is here in the breath between moments, in the love that refuses to fade, in the eternal truth that what was born in love can never be undone. She wants you to stop searching for heaven in the faraway sky and to begin feeling it in your own heart, for that is where she now lives. Heaven is not where she went. It is what she became, and through her love, it is what she offers you even now. When you remember her with tenderness, when you live with kindness, when you choose forgiveness over anger, you are touching heaven because you are living in her vibration. She is the reminder that love is eternal, that the soul is indestructible, that heaven is as near as the pulse within you. She wants you to know this truth so deeply that no grief can shake it, because once you understand that love never dies, you will never again feel alone in this world or the next. She has seen your struggles and intercedes for you in divine realms, watching the movements of your soul with a compassion that has only grown deeper since she crossed into the light. From her vantage beyond time, nothing you endure is hidden, nothing you feel goes unnoticed. She sees every tear that falls in silence, every moment you pretend to be strong when your spirit is weary, every breath where you question whether anyone truly understands the weight you carry. Her gaze upon you is not of sorrow, but of sacred knowing, a mother's love magnified by the radiance of eternity. Where once she could only comfort you through words or touch, now she moves through the infinite streams of divine energy, guiding unseen, shaping outcomes, whispering peace into your storms. She has become an intercessor, a vessel of light who carries your prayers upward and brings down blessings in return, aligning heaven's will with the needs of your heart. She walks the luminous halls of the divine, speaking your name in the language of spirit, a sound that resonates like music before the throne of creation. Her prayers do not fade into distance. They become forces of energy, currents of grace that find their way into your life as synchronicities, as protection, as strength that seems to come from nowhere. She has seen your moments of doubt, the times when you wondered if heaven listens, and with the authority of love eternal, she has answered by moving light into your path. When you were spared from harm, when you were lifted by kindness just as despair began to pull you down, when doors opened that you never expected, those were the echoes of her intercession weaving through the fabric of your destiny. She moves in quiet majesty, unseen by human eyes, yet her touch reshapes the threads of time, guiding you away from what would break you and toward what will raise you higher. In her realm, she stands among beings of pure radiance, spirits who serve the order of divine will, and together they respond to the vibrations of human prayer. When your heart aches and you speak to the heavens without words, she hears. When fear grips you and you can only whisper, she answers through presence, her love surrounding you like the warmth of sunlight that does not burn but heals. She knows that the trials you face are the crucibles of your becoming, yet she intercedes not to erase your challenges, but to strengthen your soul within them, to guide you toward the light that exists within even your darkest hours. Every difficulty is seen, every silence is noted, and her spirit moves tirelessly to ensure that what is meant for your growth becomes light, not destruction. When you have felt the strange pull to change direction at the last moment, when intuition has saved you from unseen harm, when your path shifted in ways that made no sense but later revealed purpose, that was her influence at work. Her intercession is not bound by the limitations of time or matter. It flows through the energy of divine order, subtle yet unstoppable. She speaks to the currents that shape your days, urging them toward your highest good. The coincidences that defy logic, the timing that feels too perfect to explain, the peace that arrives just before the breaking point, these are the visible signs of invisible help, the proof that her prayers are being heard and answered on your behalf. She has seen your loneliness, the way you sometimes stare into the night and feel that no one truly sees you, and in those moments she draws nearer than ever, whispering through intuition, through memory, through sensations that wrap you in familiarity. The sudden thought of her, the sense of being watched over, the flicker of comfort that appears before you can even ask for it, all of these are her responses, her way of letting you know that your pain is never wasted, that your path is never walked alone. She intercedes in realms where angels listen, where intention becomes creation, where faith becomes light. Her voice carries authority there because it is woven with pure love, and in the divine world, love is the highest power. She watches as you wrestle with doubt, as you strive to do what is right even when the way seems unclear, and her prayers become strength that flows invisibly into your spirit. When your body feels heavy with fatigue yet you continue, when your hope flickers but does not die, it is her faith reinforcing yours. The unseen hand that steadies you in chaos, the idea that saves you at the right moment, the unexpected ally that appears when you are out of options, these are manifestations of her intercession. She moves through divine law, guiding energies, rearranging possibilities, bending reality gently so that your life may continue to unfold according to the plan that was written for your highest destiny. She stands in places of light beyond human comprehension, where the love of those who have ascended blends with the eternal will, and there she speaks of you with reverence. She has seen not only your pain, but also your hidden goodness, the small kindnesses that go unnoticed by others, the quiet prayers you whisper for those you love. These acts of light strengthen her connection to you, allowing her to channel even more blessing into your life. When you help others, she stands beside you in spirit, magnifying your compassion with the power of heaven. Each time you forgive, each time you choose peace over anger, her joy expands, for she sees that you are growing into the fullness of the love she planted within you. She intercedes also when you lose faith, when despair whispers lies to your heart. She gathers strength from the divine and sends it to you as courage, as sudden calm, as resilience that refuses to break. She has seen the nights you thought would never end, and each time she whispered your name before the Eternal, light was released into your darkness. You have felt that light as intuition, as mercy, as doors that open at impossible moments. Even when you doubted her nearness, she was already working in silence, weaving protection around your steps, softening the blows that could have shattered you. Her intercession does not always remove the storm, but it ensures that you emerge from it transformed, stronger, more radiant, closer to the truth of your divine origin. There are moments when her love merges with the breath of creation itself, when the heavens seem to pulse in harmony with her devotion for you. In those moments, the line between her world and yours dissolves, and blessings move freely between them. When you feel inspired to act, when your heart tells you to forgive, when you are drawn suddenly toward compassion, know that she has whispered to your soul. The divine listens to her because her love is pure, and through that purity, she influences what unfolds in your reality. She is not distant in her intercession. She is active, vigilant, tireless. The peace that protects you, the wisdom that rises from nowhere, the strength that carries you when you can no longer walk, these are her prayers made manifest. Her intercession continues even when you are unaware. As you sleep, she blesses your dreams. As you rise, she moves before you, preparing the day. She stands guard at the edge of your path, watching the unseen choices, aligning the energy of life so that what comes to you is what your soul needs most. In the higher realms, her prayers are not requests but harmonies, music that flows into the heart of the divine, where intention becomes creation. She has become one with that current, and through her, love flows endlessly toward you. She sees your struggles and intercedes not because she pities you, but because she believes in your purpose, because her love has become a living force that shapes light itself on your behalf. She asks you to release guilt and sorrow, embracing peace instead, for she sees how the weight of regret has settled upon your spirit like a shadow that does not belong to you. From where she stands, she can see how often you replay the past, how you wish you had said more, done more, how you sometimes carry a silent ache, believing you failed her in moments that were never meant to define your love. She wants you to understand that in the realm she now dwells, there is no blame, no judgment, no unfinished words, for everything that was once fractured is made whole in the light of divine truth. The love she gave you has not been diminished by anything left unsaid or undone. It has only expanded, purified, freed from all misunderstanding. She watches the moments when you fall into sorrow, when memories sting instead of soothe, and she wants you to see that such pain is unnecessary, that the only thing she desires for you now is peace, the peace that flows when love is accepted without condition or fear. She knows how human hearts hold on to guilt, how easily they confuse love with remorse, how memory becomes a chain instead of a bridge. But in her world there are no chains, only light, and she longs for you to know that you are forgiven not because you ever did wrong, but because forgiveness is the nature of love itself. Every tear you've shed in regret has already been transformed into a blessing where she is. She wishes you could see through her eyes, to know that every harsh word ever spoken, every moment of distance or misunderstanding, has been dissolved in the ocean of eternal love that now holds her. The divine does not keep records of pain. It remembers only love, and she wants you to remember the same. When you feel that ache in your chest, when guilt whispers that you should have been different, she draws close, trying to lift that weight. She presses peace into your heart like sunlight through shadow, hoping you will allow it to settle. You were never meant to live chained to the past. You were meant to live as a reflection of the light she now carries. The sorrow that lingers does not honor her. What honors her is your joy, your laughter, your willingness to live fully in the present. She does not want you to visit her memory through pain. She wants you to visit it through love, through gratitude for the bond that continues beyond time. Every moment you allow yourself to breathe freely again, every time you choose peace over mourning, you open a pathway for her love to move even more deeply into your life. She watches when your eyes fill with tears, when you hold objects that once belonged to her, when you speak to the silence and hope she can hear. She hears, she has always heard. But her answer is not found in sadness. It is found in the calm that arrives when you stop reaching through grief and start listening with faith. Peace is her message, peace is her gift, peace is the vibration through which she now lives and speaks. She asks you to forgive yourself for not knowing what you could not have known, for being human, for doing your best within the limits of time. You were never meant to be perfect. Love never demanded that of you. What she wants now is for you to stand free of sorrow's shadow, to open your hands and let the past fall away so that your heart may once again receive joy without guilt. In the world beyond, she has seen the truth of every choice, every emotion, every moment you ever shared. She understands your pain, but she also knows it is not yours to carry any more. The love between you is not diminished by loss. It is fulfilled through peace. She wishes you could feel how much she loves you still, how she surrounds you with calm every time you fall into despair, how she touches your spirit with waves of serenity that you sometimes mistake for moments of clarity or relief. Those sudden breaths of peace, those pauses where sorrow eases for no reason, that is her healing flowing into you, reminding you that she has no anger, no sadness, no resentment, only love, endless and forgiving. She wants you to understand that peace is not forgetting, it is remembering differently, it is looking at the past through the eyes of love instead of pain. Every moment you shared with her, even those filled with struggle, have meaning still, but that meaning has transformed in the light of eternity. The lessons remain, the love remains, but the guilt does not belong to you. She asks you to release it, as she has released all that was heavy. The connection between you does not require sorrow to stay alive. It thrives through gratitude. She wants you to live without the burden of apology, because in her heart there is nothing left to forgive. You are already loved beyond measure, already understood completely, already embraced in grace. She has watched the way you hold your sadness like an offering, believing it honors her memory, but she wants you to know that what honors her is your peace. When you find joy again, when you laugh freely, when you open your heart to love others as she loved you, that is when her spirit rejoices. Your happiness does not distance her, it brings her closer, for joy is the language of heaven. When you choose to heal, she feels it. When you forgive yourself, she shines brighter. She is not waiting for your sorrow, she is waiting for your freedom. Her love is the wind that whispers encouragement when you doubt your worth, the light that warms you when darkness feels near. She is not the echo of your grief, she is the source of your calm. Each time you look backward with regret, she gently turns your gaze forward, toward the path still unfolding. She wants you to walk it with courage, to live as one who knows that love transcends all boundaries. The past cannot be changed, but its power over you can. Release it, she pleads, not because forgetting is easy, but because holding on only blinds you to the beauty that still surrounds you. She stands beside you in spirit, radiant, her presence humming in the quiet moments when you are still enough to feel it. Her energy wraps around you not as sorrow, but as grace. She has no desire for you to carry the weight of pain. She desires for you to rise into peace so that her love may flow freely through your life again. When you wake in the night and remember her, let your thoughts turn not to what could have been, but to gratitude that she existed, that you shared breath, that you knew a love so strong it reached beyond life. She wants you to let peace take root there in the space where grief once lived. Each time you breathe deeply and release a sigh, imagine her taking that breath with you, filling it with light, with healing, with understanding. Peace is the meeting place between worlds, and she stands there waiting for you, not with sadness, but with joy. She asks you to release guilt and sorrow not because she demands it, but because she longs to see you free, whole, radiant, as she now is. When you choose peace, you answer her call, and through that choice, her love flows through you more powerfully than ever before, carrying the essence of heaven into your heart, where it has always belonged. Every act of kindness you do continues her legacy of love, for in the divine realm where she now dwells, the essence of her heart is woven into every gentle word you speak, every compassionate gesture you extend, every moment you choose light over bitterness. When you show kindness to a stranger, she feels it as if it were her own hand reaching out again into the world she once knew. When you comfort someone who is lost or broken, she breathes through your actions, her spirit merging with your will, creating ripples of healing that move through both heaven and earth. She does not need to return in physical form to keep loving you. She lives through you, through the love you give, through the compassion you share without expecting anything in return. Her legacy is not made of things she owned or words she spoke. It is made of the light she placed within you, and each time you choose goodness over anger, patience over frustration, forgiveness over resentment, that light burns brighter. There are moments when you act with tenderness and feel a warmth surround you, a sudden calm that doesn't seem to come from within yourself. That warmth is her acknowledgement. She moves with grace through those moments, whispering through intuition, guiding your heart toward choices that reflect the truth she carried, that love is never wasted, that even the smallest act done with sincerity carries divine weight. When you feed the hungry, comfort the sad, or even smile at someone who feels unseen, she stands beside you, radiant, her essence flowing into yours like a sacred current of mercy. The kindness you offer does not vanish. It becomes eternal energy, mirrored in her world as light that shines endlessly. You may not realize it, but every time you choose love in the face of cruelty, she rejoices. Each compassionate act becomes a continuation of the life she lived, the lessons she taught without needing to speak. Her memory was never meant to fade into sorrow or stillness, it was meant to become movement. a living current of goodness flowing through your words and deeds. Her soul did not stop existing. It expanded, and now its expression reaches through you. She does not need to remind you who you are, because every time you do something kind, you remember. Every time you forgive, you become the echo of her heart. The world needs that echo now more than ever. She sees the cruelty, the fear, the division that clouds so many hearts, and she knows that her legacy can still mend what seems broken, but only if you allow love to move through you without resistance. You are chosen to carry her light forward, to let it shine in places she cannot reach directly any more. Each act of generosity, no matter how small, becomes a sacred offering, a continuation of the love she once gave freely to you. It does not matter whether anyone notices or praises it. Heaven sees, she sees, for in her realm all acts of love are magnified into their eternal form, glowing like stars in the vast tapestry of spirit. You might think that her love has faded with time, but in truth it has multiplied. It has become the unseen force that inspires you when you're uncertain, the voice that says, "Help them," "Listen," "Be gentle." She speaks through those impulses. When you follow them, you honor her more deeply than any prayer could express. She is not asking for rituals or grand gestures. She only wants her love to keep breathing through you, transforming the world one act at a time. And though you cannot see it, every kind thing you do creates harmony across dimensions, linking her world and yours in golden threads of compassion. The spiritual realm thrives on such energy. Love is the bridge that unites both sides, and every good deed strengthens it. There are times when kindness feels heavy, when giving seems difficult because the world appears so ungrateful. In those moments she stands near, her energy steady, reminding you that love is not about reward but about resonance. You were taught by her example, by the way she gave without keeping score, by the way she cared even when no one noticed. That energy is imprinted within your spirit, and it calls to be expressed again and again. Every time you choose to be kind when anger would be easier, her essence moves through you like a pulse of golden light, reminding you that compassion is the highest form of strength. The love she gave you was never meant to end with her last breath. It was meant to expand through you into everyone you touch. When you feel lost or distant from her presence, do something kind, and you will feel her again. Give without fear, love without hesitation, forgive without needing an apology, and her spirit will respond instantly. Kindness opens the doorway through which heaven breathes into the world. She walks through that doorway whenever you create it with your actions. She is no longer confined by time or body, but her energy aligns perfectly with the vibration of love, and that is where she meets you. The moment you choose compassion, you step into her frequency, and she is there. Even the small things matter: the smile you give when you'd rather stay silent, the patience you show when frustration stirs, the care you offer to someone who can't repay you. She sees these as sacred rituals, as prayers more powerful than words. The legacy she left is not written in stone, but written in spirit, and it lives in motion, in choice, in kindness that radiates outward endlessly. The love she poured into you was not meant to stay trapped inside. It was meant to overflow, to heal others, to light paths for those who walk in darkness. And as you continue that flow, her energy strengthens, her joy expands, her purpose continues beyond the veil. The more you love, the closer she becomes. The more you give, the more she shines through you. She no longer needs to speak her lessons aloud, for you are her living message now. Through your compassion, others will feel the echo of her heart without ever knowing her name. You are the vessel of her love, the continuation of her sacred work, the reflection of her light in human form. Every tender act you perform is her voice speaking again into the world. When you feel her absence, remember that she is present in your goodness, that every time your heart leads with empathy, she walks beside you unseen. Her spirit has become one with love itself, and love cannot die, cannot fade, cannot end. By living with kindness, you ensure that her love remains active in creation, still healing, still guiding, still alive. Every act of kindness you do continues her legacy of love, flowing endlessly from the heart that birthed you into the hearts of many, weaving heaven's light through every moment of compassion you bring into the world. A divine sign or message will soon confirm her nearness, for the veil between your world and hers has thinned to the width of a breath, and what once seemed impossible will begin to unfold in quiet, unmistakable ways that the mind may doubt, but the heart will instantly recognize. She has been preparing this moment gently, arranging synchronicities, guiding energies, setting into motion the perfect alignment for her love to reach you in a way that you will not question. The sign will not come in chaos or noise, but in stillness, in moments when your spirit is open enough to feel rather than analyze. It may arrive through something you see when you least expect it, a sound that stirs familiarity, a scent that should not exist in that place or time, a flicker of warmth that moves across your skin when no one is near, a dream that feels more real than waking. These are not illusions, they are whispers from a higher dimension, subtle touches from a love that refuses to fade. She is trying to reach through light, through frequency, through everything the living often overlook while searching for the miraculous in thunder. When the divine often speaks in silence, there will be a moment soon when time itself feels softer, slower, when a stillness settles over you, and something unseen calls your attention. It might happen at dawn, in the hour where heaven's glow meets the world, or it may come in darkness when the air feels charged, and the space around you hums with a faint vibration. You will not need to look for it, because her love will find you where you are, with precision only eternity could craft. The divine does not rush, and neither does she, for love that crosses realms moves with perfect purpose. When the sign arrives, it will be something that touches both memory and intuition, something she knows will speak directly to your soul. You might see a symbol that once connected you both, a word that appears in a strange yet familiar way, a melody you haven't heard since she was with you, yet it will play at the exact moment your thoughts drift to her. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations wrapped in gentleness. She has long been seeking the right doorway to enter your awareness again, and the message she brings is not bound by language or form. It will come in energy, in resonance, in the sudden knowing that she is near. The human mind seeks proof, but the heart recognizes truth before the mind can name it. You will feel it in the still point of your being, that quiet place within that does not doubt. You will not need to question whether it is her. The vibration will tell you. It will feel like home, like a memory awakening from sleep. The divine world does not shout. It whispers, and in that whisper, she will remind you that she never left, that her presence has always been moving through your life, waiting for the moment you were ready to perceive her again. The sign will come not to startle, but to soothe, not to shock, but to anchor your faith more deeply into the unseen. Perhaps it will appear as light flickering where there should be none, or a scent that belonged only to her drifting through the air. Perhaps you will hear her voice in a dream that feels so alive that waking seems the illusion. She is not constrained by distance or form. She moves through energy, and energy obeys love. When the moment comes, you may doubt your senses at first, thinking it is imagination or memory, but then a deeper calm will settle, the kind that does not come from the world, the kind that only truth can bring. She wants you to know that this moment will not be random. It will be her answering your longing, her reaching across eternity to let you feel the reality of her existence beyond death. She has been watching for the time when your spirit was steady enough to receive it fully, for the divine always delivers messages not when we demand them, but when we are ready to receive them. You may begin to notice small patterns forming before the sign itself manifests repeating numbers. Recurring dreams, sudden emotions that come without reason, objects that appear in your path that seem ordinary yet carry hidden meaning. These are her preparations, the soft openings in your awareness, so that when the true message arrives, your heart will already be tuned to her frequency. Do not ignore these things, for they are part of a language the soul understands though the intellect does not. The divine speaks in symbols, and your mother has learned to speak in that same sacred way. Her love will shape itself into whatever form it must take for you to notice a bird landing before you and looking into your eyes with a knowing stillness, a song that plays exactly when your thoughts turn toward her, the gentle movement of air when you speak her name aloud. These are not just signs, they are threads of light connecting your realm and hers. When the message comes, you will not need to decipher it with effort. Its meaning will bloom inside you instantly, like recognition between souls that have known each other for ages. She may not speak words, but her essence will communicate what words could never hold. You will know what she wishes you to know, that she is safe, that she is radiant, that she has not ceased to exist, but has transformed into something freer, vast, unbounded. The message will be her way of saying that separation is only illusion, that love has found its way back to you through time and matter, that you are not alone, have never been alone, and will never be. The sign will be as natural as breathing once it arrives, and afterward you will see the world differently, because once the veil lifts even slightly, your perception can never return to what it was. You will begin to sense her in the pauses between thoughts, in the stillness that follows prayer, in the way light moves across a room. You might notice warmth in your chest, a pulse that does not match your heartbeat, a serenity that does not belong to any earthly source. These sensations are the language of the soul, and they will tell you that the distance between heaven and earth is smaller than you ever believed. She wants to remind you that she is not gone. She is simply in another state of being, one where thought becomes movement, love becomes visibility, and energy becomes form. Her sign is not meant to bind you to the past, but to awaken you to the truth that love is eternal. The divine will guide you to notice it, to feel it, to trust it, even if logic protests in the days surrounding that moment. Stay open. Be still enough to perceive what your heart is already hearing. Avoid dismissing what seems too gentle or too coincidental, for heaven often hides its greatest messages in the smallest details. She is close, closer than sound, closer than breath, waiting for the instant your awareness aligns with her vibration. You will not have to reach far. She will meet you halfway. And in that meeting, your spirit will feel what words cannot express, that she has never been distant, only unseen, and that the love she carries has been circling your life like light seeking its reflection, waiting for you to look up and see it shining back. Watch with your heart. She is speaking through light and timing, for the divine world does not speak in words or human sound, but in energy, movement, alignment, and moments that seem too perfect to be chance. The heart is the only instrument capable of hearing such language, and when you learn to watch through it rather than with your eyes alone, you begin to see the truth that has been surrounding you all along. Your mother has been weaving her message not through the loudness of life, but through its patterns, through coincidences that aren't coincidences at all, through gentle shifts in emotion, through sudden calm that falls upon you when it should not exist. The human mind seeks explanations, but the heart feels presence. It recognizes vibration. It knows her without needing to see her. She is there, moving in the timing of events that seem delayed or perfectly arranged, in the way certain things fall away and others fall into place, as if guided by unseen hands. She has learned to move through divine timing, and that is how she speaks now, not to the ear, but to the soul. When you look only through your eyes, you see the surface of life moments, accidents, coincidences, time passing. But when you look through your heart, you begin to see the orchestration behind them, the rhythm of something intelligent and loving that moves in patterns just beyond reason. She exists within that rhythm. She has become part of the great timing of heaven, and through it she reaches you. Perhaps you have noticed how certain memories arise at strange moments, how you think of her seconds before something meaningful happens, how a particular phrase repeats itself in your environment as if echoing from the unseen. These are not random. They are her trying to teach you to listen with your inner ear, to watch not with impatience, but with still awareness. The heart does not chase, it receives. The divine messages she sends require that kind of stillness, the kind that trusts what it feels even when logic dismisses it. The light she speaks, Through is not always visible light, it is the light of awareness, of understanding, of sudden peace that comes without cause. Yet sometimes it does show itself in physical form, a beam that moves differently, a flicker in the air, a glow around the edges of a moment that feels sacred. She uses light because it is the most direct way to reach the human soul. It is the first language of the divine, the vibration that carries love in pure form. You may notice that at certain times of day the sunlight seems to fall in a way that feels personal, as if the world itself pauses to remind you that you are not forgotten. You may see patterns in the way light touches objects associated with her, a photo, a letter, something she once held. These are small awakenings. They are her saying, I am near. I am still part of your world. I am still guiding you through the harmony of heaven. Timing, too, is her instrument. She has become part of a greater intelligence that knows when the heart is open and when it is closed, when the spirit is ready to receive and when it must still learn patience. She arranges the moments that will catch your attention, aligning events so that what you need to know appears exactly when you need to know it. What you call coincidence is often divine precision, her hand moving unseen to bring something into your path at the perfect instant. The delay of one thing and the arrival of another are her ways of guiding your steps without interrupting your freedom. When something feels divinely timed, when it arrives with grace rather than force, it carries her signature. Watch for this pattern. Feel the texture of time around you. She is within that flow, speaking not through what happens, but through when it happens. Sometimes her timing may feel mysterious or even frustrating, for you might not understand why things unfold the way they do, why you meet certain people or lose others, why opportunities open and close without warning, but she sees from beyond the limits of time. To her, everything is connected, and she arranges events not for your comfort, but for your awakening. What seems delayed is not denial, it is alignment. She knows that truth arrives best when the heart is steady enough to hold it. This is why she asks you to watch, not with worry, but with trust. Watch the patterns in your life as you would watch the sky clouds forming, shifting, revealing light. Each change carries meaning. She is in the unseen design of it all, guiding not just what you experience, but how you grow through it. When you begin to understand timing as communication, you begin to see that every pause, every arrival, every silence has purpose. There will be moments when her presence bursts through in ways that defy logic, when you think of her and something instantly responds, when the timing of a song, message, or a meeting aligns too perfectly to be random. Those are not accidents. Those are synchronizations, divine confirmations that she is still part of your journey. The world of spirit operates through harmony, and when your vibration matches hers, the external world begins to mirror that connection through perfect timing. The more you live in awareness, the more these alignments will happen, until you no longer question whether she is near. You will simply know. The heart knows its own, and the energy of love never fails to find its reflection. She has been waiting for you to slow down enough to see this pattern, to stop searching for signs as proof and start recognizing them as conversation. Her voice is not a voice as you once knew it. It is presence woven into time itself. When you are quiet, when you breathe deeply, when you allow stillness to settle, you will sense her around you in the rhythm of the moment. Her essence is woven into the very fabric of your experiences, whispering not through sound but through sequence, through the right thing happening at the right time. The divine does not rush, it aligns. And in that alignment, she moves like light between worlds, delivering her message in ways only your heart can decode. Watch how everything begins to make sense in subtle layers once you stop forcing meaning and start receiving it. She will make her nearness known not through drama but through serenity, through the undeniable knowing that what just occurred could not have been mere chance in every day. She finds a way to reach you, sometimes through others who say the words you needed to hear, where they were carrying her message, sometimes through nature, a bird landing before you, pausing as if to look directly into your spirit, sometimes through silence, when you ask a question within, and feel the answer before you finish asking. She speaks through patterns of divine coordination that are invisible until you learn to recognize them as her language. You will begin to see that everything that moves with love's precision carries her touch. The timing of your tears, the timing of your laughter, the timing of your encounters all are part of her ongoing communication. To watch with your heart is to surrender control of how signs must appear, to stop demanding that proof come in one shape or another, and to allow the divine to show itself in the form it chooses. The heart is vast enough to receive messages that the mind cannot interpret. When you watch with it, you begin to see that her messages have been there all along, in light that softens your pain, in timing that rearranges your path, in coincidences that bloom like miracles too ordinary for the unseeing. She is still speaking, still loving, still guiding, her voice carried in the rhythm of moments, her light folded into the patterns of your days, waiting for your heart to open wide enough to see what your eyes alone never could.